Boys, it's Chinned, ADESANYA, and PYFER just wrapped up, and man, what a fucking card this was. All around, incredible fights. Just every single fight, honestly, had something to give. If you take out, of course, the heavyweight fight that happened. Just great. I didn't do very well on predictions in the main card, but besides that, it is what it is. I got my Tofiq Musayev pick right. Anyways, starting with the prelims. Alexia Tainara actually looked pretty good against Bruno Brazil. And I have to say, I've been thinking this for the last couple weeks. There's something in the air when it comes to women's MMA right now. Every women's MMA fight for the last month or so has actually been great. I mean, it's kind of weird, but it's just turned on a dime. I think now the biggest enemy to us as fans of the sport is obviously the heavyweight division. But pretty much every women's fight has been good. Like, this Tainara fight was not terrible. It was actually pretty good. Oh boy, the big one. Ricky Simone and Adrian Yanez. So this happened. It was a good fight. Simone, the first round was very, very close. I think Simone lost it. I think Yanez won that round. Just based purely on he was winning a majority of the first 4 minutes of the fight, and then Simone kind of turned it up in the last minute, and I don't think that was enough to win the round. Round two, I think Simone dominated him with the grappling enough, held him down enough to take the round. I had it 1-1 going into the third, and then of course Yanez nearly finishes him, gets a 10-8 in the third. I score the fight for Yanez 29-27, giving him a 10-8 in the third. I do not agree with the draw, but I don't think it's ridiculous. I think a lot of people saying that this is the biggest robbery of all time, it takes you to like 3 months of watching cards to know that this is not even just remotely the biggest robbery. You can score this a draw. It's not like it's complete bullshit, It's Ricky Simone could have edged out the first round on some people's scorecards. I'd say there's like it's like a 60-40 split to Yanez for the first round, and then the second and third were clear. It really just comes down to, in that case, if you scored the third a 10-8. Like, again, listen, I picked Ricky Simone, okay? I think that Yanez, if anybody should have been crowned the winner, it should have been Yanez. But like, let's stop acting like this was egregious. Do I think Yanez deserved the win? Yeah. Just all around really fucking weird scorecards. And there was a lot of weird officiating tonight. This whole card had very, very weird officiating, even down to Bruce Buffer reading scorecards. Very, very bizarre. Moving on to Navajo Sterling versus Bruno Lopez. Finally, Navajo Sterling got a finish in the UFC. I've been picking this guy to win by finish every single time, and he hasn't even gotten one. I knew he was due this time. Bruno Lopez, low-key tough fighter, good chin. I thought he'd be able to crumble a lot easier. Sterling kind of slowed down towards the end of the second when he got the finish, and it looked like for a moment he probably wasn't going to be able to get it, but he did. Terrible stoppage. One of the worst stoppages I've seen in fucking years. I think that Navajo Sterling is probably going to be getting a ranked shot next. I think he deserves it. I think he's a good fighter. Definitely very green. He needs to work on the volume, but a good fighter nonetheless. And at 205, honestly, like, kind of a nice injection of talent. I'm looking forward to his next fight. Moving on, Casey O'Neill. Holy shit. I didn't know she was capable of doing all that. I'm telling you, man, the women's fights have just been... There's something going on. Casey O'Neill, a standing flatline KO nearly over Gabby Fernandez. Just impressive. Not much to say other than, she's been kind of disappointing in her UFC run this far, Casey O'Neill. She came in undefeated, then she lost a couple, and she's back. She's back, man. That's an impressive win. Gabby Fernandez is actually an alright fighter. Moving on, Tyrell Fortune. Man, this fight just sucked. I mean, I picked Tyrell Fortune. Big fucking deal. I don't want to talk about this fight, so I'm not going to talk about this fight. Lance Gibson Jr., holy fuck. Chase Hooper is a chinny boy. 26 years old with a chin like that. I like Chase Hooper. There was a point in time where he was one of my favorite prospects, when he was on that streak in lightweight before he got stopped by Hernandez. Really, really, really impressive performance nonetheless from Gibson. I believe it was an elbow in the clinch that got Hooper to react and just fell, and big knees from Gibson put him down at the end, and just a really impressive performance. Chase Hooper has terrible defense. I don't rate Lance Gibson all that highly. I don't think he's like this fucking beast. But nonetheless, he got the win very impressively. Big upset. Good for him. Not much to say. I think Chase Hooper needs to work on the defense, though. Moving on. I know what everybody thinks about this fight. I know what everybody thinks about Tofiq Musayev. But I just want to say, I picked Tofiq Musayev to win by decision. And it was beautiful to watch. Listen, dude, the ref didn't see any cheating, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. There was no cheating at all, man. Tofiq is, listen, dude, apart from the bit, like, I get it. Tofiq cheated. He grabbed the fence. He fucking headbutt him. Like, it happens, man. These people are on autopilot. It's the ref's fault. I'm also a Tofiq Glazer, so I'm not going to act like he did it on purpose, even though he definitely did, and that was a very dirty move, and he should have gotten a point taken from it. I still love Tofiq, and I picked him to win, and he fucking won. And this was also one of the craziest fucking fights I've watched in a while. Like, this was one of the bloodiest fights you'll ever watch. Ignacio nearly put him out cold in the second rounds. Tofiq grabbed the fence to stop the takedown and stop whatever onslaught of punches were coming. Reversed it, was able to get his own takedown, and just the entire tide of the fight completely switched. And then Tofiq was able to dominate him on the ground pretty much for the rest of the fight. Just a fucking banger, though. I mean, just if you can ignore the cheating, if you could just take the fight for the excitement of it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable fight. I am so happy Tofiq got a win over a guy like Ignacio. I think Tofiq can go far despite his age and his mileage. I'm really, really, really interested in his UFC run. He looked great in Ryzen, he's looked great after Ryzen, and he looks great now. Big fan of Tofiq, very happy for his win. Moving on, I picked Kyle Nelson to knock out Terrence McKinney while Terrence McKinney goes at him at 1,000 miles per hour in the first 30 seconds of the fight. And instead of, throwing back and doing exactly what I thought he would do, he just got hit by a head kick that was completely blocked, that absolutely didn't hurt him, decided to trip and fall and decide not to do anything when he was on the ground and get TKO'd. I like Terrence McKinney a lot too, but, I'm not like the biggest Terrence McKinney fan, but I like him. He's a cool fighter. How the fuck does he not get a bonus? By the way, that's 8 now, 8 first-round finishes in the UFC. He's tying records out here, and he's not getting bonuses. That's fucking ridiculous. Great performance for Terrence McKinney. Terrible performance from Kyle Nelson. It looked like he gave up in there. I like Terrence McKinney to get a ranked shot next, even though I don't think he's very good. I think he's got one of the worst chins in the UFC, but man, he's got some of the most lethal pressure you'll ever see in a fighter. Really big win. Really cool win. Cool fighter. One of the most must-watch guys right now, Terrence McKinney. Moving on to Yusri Bagaroui, who TKO'd Mansour Abdulmalik with a big knee in the third. I completely overlooked Bagaroui. I kind of thought that his first fight with Bakoyev was a little bit of a hype job, maybe Bakoyev wasn't that good, but he came in and he proved his skill set again against a similar fighter. I thought Mansour Abdulmalik would be able to take him down at will. And it looked like he kind of was able to, but he just gassed out very, very easily before any of that happened. Just a really sloppy fight, but pretty fun towards the end. I mean, Mansour even ended up landing some good shots even in that daze that he was in the third round. But just Yusri is a very impressive fighter with an incredible gas tank. His takedown defense is improving every single fight. His striking is looking better and better. His power is incredible. He's a sleeper for a top 10 contender in the future. Big fan of what Yusri's able to do. And at 85, no less, where I think he could do better than, a guy like Yusri wouldn't be able to survive in the top 10 of welterweight. But, just great. Great from Yusri. Great from Yusri. Moving on to Julian Erosa versus Lyrian Douglas. So I actually picked Juicy J here, not thinking at all, not using my brain. I've watched Douglas many times before, and I kind of see him as finishable. But wow. He went in there and his jab was doing more damage, having more effect on Erosa than the right hand until the very end. I have never seen anything like that. That was really fucking sick. The power that Douglas has. I'm unsure if it's his power, because every single person that he's knocked out has been kind of a can. And Juicy J is not a can, but his chin is can worthy. I'd like to see Douglas against somebody with a much sturdier chin. because that's a crazy way to debut, and I just want to see if he can, get somebody with a good chin out of there like that, because that was really interesting to me. Juicy J, his chin is gone. It's bad. Like, he's got the Chase Hooper chin. Good performance by Douglas. Moving on, Michael Chiesa, Nico Price. What is there to say? Honestly, good retirement for Michael Chiesa. Good retirement win. He left on, a 4-win streak? That's kind of impressive. Fuck him for beating Tony, but still pretty impressive. Nico Price was a layup. We all knew this would happen. Yeah, not much to say. Cool win. Good for him. Alexa Grasso and Macy Barber. Holy shit. I think this is the greatest KO in women's history. You can point to Shevchenko and Jessica Ai, of course. You can point to maybe Wei Li and Joanna too, which I think is a very forgotten KO, but definitely one of the best. This was fucking crazy. This was like the women's version of Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell. I thought Macy Barber was dead for a moment. I mean, she was breathing, but she was not getting up for a good minute or two after. And the fucking back take by Grasso right after the KO, like, it looked like it almost like made Barber go out even worse. It was weird. Like, you saw that she was kind of up after that, but then she just completely shut off. Like that rear naked choke, the tightness cutting off the oxygen almost fucked up Barber even more. It was just, and it happened so quick. I mean, it was just so impressive. I picked Macy Barber to decision Grasso. I'm sure most people picked Barber. Just based on momentum. Grasso hasn't really looked herself recently. And Barber has just been really, really solid. She's been having great fights, and her chin has held up, obviously. It's women's. Nobody's chin really gives out here. But, man, that's the type of KO that changes you permanently. What a KO. Nothing much to say. Alexa Grasso, I guess she's back, huh? Moving on to the main event. Israel Adesanya got TKO'd in the second round. Joe PYFER took him down, was able to get full mount easily. Izzy gives his back, takes some big shots, kind of goes back in the full mount. PYFER lands more big shots, gives his back again, and it ends. What a sequence. What a round. That is definitely one of the rounds of the year, because Adesanya honestly looked like he had that one in the bag. Not in the bag, but he was definitely looking outstanding. I wouldn't be surprised if live odds wise he was looking minus 300-ish. I mean, he was looking really, really good, leading up to when he decided to go to war with a man that you absolutely cannot go to war with. I mean, Joe PYFER is now the 185 Drew Dober. I don't know how to feel about this fight. Maybe this is, a salty remark by me, but I don't leave that fight thinking that Joe PYFER is a better fighter than Adesanya, even if Adesanya, definitely had worse grappling, but we knew that would be the case. His takedown defense held up very, very well in round one, and PYFER had some really close calls, some really close 1-2s that almost caught Adesanya on the chin that absolutely would have put him out, or at least hurt him. But Adesanya was able to evade. He was able to really, destroy PYFER's legs in that first round, half of the second round as well. And he was landing good 1-2s, landing really good right hands right to the temple of PYFER pretty much the entire fight. That was there for him the whole time. PYFER doesn't have much head movement, doesn't have the best defense. PYFER is obviously dangerous when it comes to the pressure. Adesanya pressured him like I've never seen Adesanya. Adesanya looked like, the last time I can remember him pressuring somebody like that was, I don't know, maybe the second half of the Gastelum fight. He just looked outstanding in that fight. At least in the first, rounds. Adesanya looked like he was going to win. The momentum was heavily in his favor, and then in the second round, he catches PYFER very, very good. I thought he hurt PYFER. I don't know. PYFER got hit with some big shots and started moving away a couple times during that fight, but he didn't really look hurt as much as he was just, afraid of getting clipped again, so he was moving backwards. Adesanya chased him with that incredible pressure that he was using that entire fight, and decided to just swang and bang with the motherfucker against the fence. You don't do that with Joe PYFER and win. You just don't. It doesn't happen. This is one of the greater fight IQ lapses I've ever seen, especially from a guy like Adesanya, who, you know, I don't like the guy, but I respect his ability, and that fight IQ that he usually has disappeared at the end of that second round. He just decided to go balls to the wall against PYFER, and he got caught and taken down and dominated and finished. Just a really, really weird change in momentum in this fight that ended Adesanya's career. I think it should end his career. I think Adesanya should retire. And if he doesn't retire, let's fucking feed Adesanya to Obama, please. Can we get Obama a flatline KO? That would be fucking tough, man. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. This is the first main event I've gotten wrong in over a month. I'm fine with it going this way, because I don't really like Adesanya to begin with, but I really do think that he should have won this fight. And I am kind of sad about it. Adesanya is fun to have in the rankings. You know, he's fun to have as an active fighter. He's a fun piece in the middleweight division, which is otherwise very, very weak. I think this hurts the division. I think Joe PYFER being in the top 5 is going to hurt the division. I don't think he's a top 5 caliber fighter, personally. I think he's like a 7 or an 8. But then again, you know, it's all opinion. I don't think PYFER holds a candle to Strickland. I don't think he holds a candle to Hamzat, obviously. I think him and RDR would have a great fight. Him and Kaio would have a great fight. But I don't think he beat many of these guys. I think he'll very, very quickly be taken out of the top 5 in the next fight or two for him. I just don't think he's at that level. I think Kaio can really take advantage of the, you know, and Kaio has an incredible chin. Kaio won't be taken down like Adesanya. I think Kaio and Joe PYFER should be next. It's a nightmare matchup for PYFER, and we can test Kaio's incredible chin, which we know that he has, and the grappling, of course. Going to be a really interesting path for PYFER in the UFC now, because he's jumping from 14 to 4. He's obviously very exciting. I look forward to his next fight, but I do not think he belongs in that top 5. But maybe he'll prove me wrong. Overall, what a fucking card. Did pretty weak on picks in the main card, but honestly, this is the first card I've done poorly in on this channel, I would say, picks-wise. So, you know what? You can't have a night every night. So, if you guys enjoyed, please subscribe, like the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of this card. I thought it was probably card of the year. But yeah, if you guys want to see picks for every card dropping every Sunday and instant reactions happening within an hour of every card ending, please subscribe. It would help a lot. I'm trying to build it up right now. I'm at 17 subs for the last week. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Chinned.